revenge eating. Yes, you heard right. Revenge eating. What it is actually, knowingly, unknowingly, most of us we have practiced this revenge eating at some point of our time in our life. So, what is revenge eating? What are the disadvantages of following this revenge eating? And whether we can understand whether we have been following revenge eating unknowingly. To answer all these questions, please listen to this podcast till the end. It may be very new topic or almost all unknown topic, but this has been practiced or following by you unknowingly. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel Swamy Vijay, and this is Swamy Vijay speaking to all. What is revenge eating? Revenge eating, also known as emotional eating or stress eating. It is the act of consuming large amounts of food as a way to cope with negative emotions or stress. Try to recollect those situations when you are stressed out, or when you are filled with a lot of negativity, or when somebody scolded you, or when you have some kind of low feelings in your life, or when there is some kind of a problem with your spouse, or when somebody told you unnecessarily, or when your boss scolded you, and when you can't retract, or when you can't answer back, when you can't reply back in those situations, it creates a lot of stress. And when things go out of control, then what will happen? You feel a kind of negativity, you will become a kind of pessimist. So in those situations, recollect, you resort to eating and you ate a lot of stuff unknowingly. So that is called revenge eating. It is not known to many that what is this kind of a disorder, but I observed this kind of revenge eating in most of the people I know. They have a lot of health issues. They are diabetic, they have blood pressure, they have so many other health issues, but still they don't follow healthy diet. They try to eat a lot of junk food and unhealthy food. Whenever I ask them, you have this health issue, but still why you are consuming this unhealthy food? They say, for what purpose we have to live, for whom we have to survive, let me eat and let me die early. So they are eating because they are stressed out, or maybe some kind of unhappiness or unhappy situations they faced, and that made them to go for this revenge eating. I think now you got the point. What is revenge eating? So whenever we are unhappy, stressed and negative, feeling very low, most of us resort to revenge eating, and during revenge eating most of us consume junk food or lots and lots of unhealthy food. So revenge eating, also known as emotional eating or stress eating, when we go out of control of our emotions, then we follow this eating. It is called revenge eating. It is a behavior in which individuals use food as a means of comfort, distraction, or coping mechanism when they are feeling anxious, sad, bored, or stressed. So whenever people have this kind of emotional disturbances, they will take food to make themselves and feel themselves comfortable. The term revenge in revenge eating implies a desire to rebel against something, often an emotional state, by indulging in food that may be unhealthy or excessive in quantity. This behavior is often associated with negative physical and mental health outcomes such as weight gain, obesity, guilt, shame, and a perpetuation of negative emotions. So people who involve in this revenge eating, they will not feel happy after taking the food. That develops guilt and they feel very unhappy with that. But what can they do? They can't express their emotions straightforward to the in front of those people who are more powerful. So they will try to control, and they want to please themselves to give some comfort to them emotionally and physically. They will go to this kind of revenge eating. There are so many reasons for revenge eating. So these are the few reasons. First one, stress. So many people turn to food as a way to cope with stress. Eating can release food feel-good hormones in the body, such as serotonin, that help to temporarily reduce feelings of stress and anxiety. So whenever you feel stressed and anxiety, you might have resort to eating food that too unhealthy and junk food. So stress is one of the reasons why people practice this revenge eating not knowingly. I don't say that they know what actually they are doing. Maybe till you watch this podcast, you also not be knowing what actually is happening with you and with your food habits. So stress is one of the reasons leads to revenge eating. Second one is emotional triggers. People may turn to food as a way to cope with negative emotions such as sadness, anger, or boredom. So, the third one, boredom, it may be very unusual to say. Most of the people nowadays they eat food because they don't have any other work to do. They'll be watching TV, or they will be googling something, or they will be browsing Instagram, and they will be eating continuously. So, eating can provide a temporary distraction or numbing effect, helping to temporarily elevate negative emotions. So, to avoid all those unhappy, sad moments in their life and negative thoughts, they will start eating and it will continue eating. Then, third reason is habit. Over time, people can develop a habit of eating in response to certain triggers or emotions. This habit can become ingrained and difficult to break. It's almost like addiction to alcohol. Whenever somebody feels unhappy, they'll drink alcohol and it gives some kind of temporary relaxation and relief. So they will again and again do the same thing. So people also, whenever they feel unhappy or whenever something happens in their life which they have no control, they start eating food. Then fourth reason is lack of other coping skills. Some people may turn to food as a coping mechanism. See, you can understand there are so many reasons. It triggers our emotions and people try to eat lot of unhealthy and junk food to use this eating food habit as a coping mechanism because they don't have other strategies for dealing with negative emotions or stress. They may not have learned effective coping skills or may not have access to resources that can help them. They may not even knowing that they are undergoing this kind of a wrong practice of eating called revenge eating. The last one is, according to my knowledge, cultural and societal factors. In some cultures, food is used as a way to celebrate or a social activity. This can lead to overconsumption of food in social situations, which can contribute to a pattern of revenge eating. So, most of us have these kind of reasons, knowingly or unknowingly, we have been practicing revenge eating. Still, observe people among or in your circle, whoever eats food when they are stressed, when they are nervous, that is actually they are practicing revenge eating. See, it is important to note that while revenge eating can provide temporary relief, it can also lead to negative health consequences over time. Okay, so we should understand how to come out of this revenge eating practice. If you have been following unknowingly, then you should listen to the tips which I am going to share with you to come out of this addiction of revenge eating. So if you struggle with revenge eating, here are some tips that can help you to overcome this behavior. First one, identify triggers. Pay attention to the situations, emotions, or events that tend to trigger your revenge eating. Once you identify your triggers, you can work on finding healthier ways to cope with them. So, what is the reason which triggers this kind of emotional imbalance, negativity in your life? Identify those things and then try to avoid those situations and avoid those people. Then practice mindfulness. Mindfulness techniques such as deep breathing or meditation, or at least whatever, whenever you are eating, try to concentrate on what you are eating, why you are eating, is it healthy or not. If you ask these three questions to yourself before eating any food, 99.99% you will not practice this revenge eating. But don't try to eat food scolding or thinking negative about somebody, and if they have done something wrong to you, if when you can't reply or when you can't do anything back to them, don't try to take revenge on your body. Okay, then next one, find alternative coping strategies. When you identify what are the reasons for your stress or triggering points, then you have to come out of those emotional disturbances by practicing some other ways, not by eating food, such as going for a walk, taking a bath, or listening to music, or you have to do exercises so that it will release stress. Keep healthy snacks on hand. Another tip is, if you can't stop if you can't avoid revenge eating, at least you have to keep the healthy snacks and healthy food around you, so that whenever you feel stressed and whenever you want to eat, you will get only the healthy food. So that way you can avoid this kind of revenge eating slowly. But always remember, you should keep away all the junk food from you. Then, if all these tips fail, then seek support. Get or take appointments with the counselors. Get a professional counselor to treat you and to counsel you. See, you need to practice self compassion. Don't beat yourself up if you slip up and engage in revenge eating. Remember that changing behaviors takes time and effort, and be kind to yourself as you work on making positive changes. See, it's not so easy to control this revenge eating. Whenever we feel sad, whenever we feel depressed, whenever we feel unhappy, maybe so many reasons, maybe because of people, because of job, or because of studies, or because of so many factors in this world, we resort to or we go with revenge eating. But that is not correct. It creates a lot of problems. It has so many negative consequences in life. Because of this revenge eating, we lose control over our bodies, we gain weight, it leads to so many difficulties or so many problems in our life. So understand that revenge eating is not good. And these days, as I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I found so many people who are practicing this revenge eating, they are not happy with their lives, or they are not happy in their lives, so they have resort to this revenge eating. And they also know that they are causing or they are creating a lot of problems to their own body, but still they got stuck in this revenge eating addiction. So practice all these tips which I mentioned in this podcast and try to come out of this revenge eating addiction slowly. That brings to the end of this podcast and this topic, revenge eating. I believe that this podcast is useful for you to come out of this revenge eating if you are practicing. And if you like this podcast, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so that you receive latest updates of the information the moment I upload videos on YouTube. And if you want to suggest me any topics to publish podcast, then please leave your comments in the comment section below. I will love to hear those things and I would try to publish podcast on the topic suggested by you to me. So thanks for listening. Every day at 21 Indian Standard Time or 9 p.m. I'll be back with another video with a new topic in the podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. Take care.